This,
All right.
did they make this on debate?
Yeah, so it is 5:30. We're going to call the meeting to order. We're going to start with a staff presentation from Eastern District Planning Commission. Is that?
Mr. Baines here.
It just, you looked a little ambivalent, so I was not sure you put you on the spot.
Does John have a clicker?
So do I have a clicker? No, I do not have a clicker.
Is that a good place?
So what's before council for the public hearing this evening is a pretty straightforward amendment for your waterfront industrial zone. We were on the property on May 1st of 2026. The property is identified. And so one of the things I think council is important for you to know is that this amendment, though, we're going to be specifically talking about the old, all steel coating building, the old granite tile. This amendment applies to all of your waterfront industrial zones. And it's pretty straightforward amendment. Right now, this use is permitted in the waterfront industrial zone if it is related to, the shipping industry, maritime industry. So all this is doing is removing that criteria and allowing the same use without specifying that it's related to the marine uses. Next slide. Whatever the clicker.
Excuse me.
This is the property. Most of you obviously are very familiar with it. I'm familiar with it. Used to walk my dog through there. And next slide. Some pictures were taken when we went on the property. And some description about the site. But again, this amendment is going to apply across your waterfront industrial zone, not just this property. Next slide. So what we're looking at is as adding general building and repair facilities. My eyesight's not that great, but in the next slide. So what we're looking at doing, so this is not an appealable decision. This is, the council always has a prerogative to change your policy. So this is a policy amendment as well as a land use bylaw amendment. It's because your policies are written very specific as to what's permitted in the zone. So it's the opinion of planning staff that this concurrent text amendment to the municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw to add construction trades and fabrication facilities that are used within the industrial waterfront zone meets the intent of the town of Port Hawkesbury municipal planning strategy according to the requirements as set out in the document. And I think the next slide, there are amending pages. I think that's your, the amending page for the municipal planning strategy. And the next slide is the amending page for the land use bylaw. If I couldn't read the old slides, I can't read that one. But all it's doing is adding that, so it's adding the use into the policy and it's adding the use into the land use bylaw. And the next slide should be proposed motions, right? So we've given you a recommended motion, moved and seconded, the council approved the concurrent text amendment to both the municipal planning strategy and the land use bylaw, adding construction trade yards and fabrication facilities as a permitted use in the zone. So that's the plan, that's the bylaw, but also adding a definition. So construction trade yards, meaning a building used for the storage, maintenance and repair of construction equipment and for the fabrication and assembly of components associated with construction projects. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
And
Just a clarification, this staff recommendation was reviewed by PAC and a motion was passed by PAC to recommend to council to approve this change in strategy and bylaw.
No questions up to this point?
Wonderful.
Okay, I guess we are done.
No, we have, we have, council, just to go through process.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Maybe-
just meant with his
Oh,
presentation.
yes, yes.
So we do, and also just to mention, do we want to read the second reading part on our agenda?
So it is a public hearing, so you want to ask if there's members of the public who want to speak in favor and
Yeah.
members of the public who want to speak opposed.
Yeah, that's a little down the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So second reading is an application by All Steel Coating Limited for a concurrent text amendment in municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw to add construction trades yard and fabrication facility, as a use in industrial waterfront M2 zone as has been presented, by John Bay from Eastern District Planning Commission. First reading was given at the May 25th, 2026 special public meeting. At this time, I would ask if council have any questions as per agenda item number 3.
Your worship.
Okay.
Mr. Bain? Can you just give a description of where along the waterfront the M2 zone actually? where-
Yeah, so it basically runs along the, below the railway, all the way across the bottom of the town.
That whole area is
It
the,
is, yeah.
okay, very good, thank you.
Any other questions at this time? Okay. Hearing no further questions, we'll move on to gallery presentations. And as is protocol, we will call 3 times for opposing presentations and 3 times for presentations in favor. So we'll start with opposing presentations. Any participants here that would like to present opposing presentations? Second call for opposing presentations. Third call for opposing presentations. Hearing none, I'll ask for presentations in favor. At this time, is there anybody who would like to present in favor?
Here's supported by.
You don't need to speak if you don't like, but you're more than welcome to.
No, we have it here for you.
Okay. So second call for presentations in favor. Third call for presentations in favor. At this time, I would ask, our CAO if there's been any written submissions.
Your worship, we have not received any written submissions.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll move, over to staff presentation, by our, CFO, Brian Luciano, regarding second reading for amendments to the marketing, levy bylaw. And just to note, the first reading was given at the May 5th, 2026 public meeting at council. Over to you, Brian.
Okay. I think the podium or?
You could do it from there. If you just want to
No.
use your rink voice.
Yeah.
Or-
Sure. So, just a little background. Legislation passed in 2023 required short-term rental platforms to comply with the municipal marketing levies. Following that, a process was initiated led by municipal affairs to explore ways and how to implement the process for effective collection and remitting of the platforms. Some of the platforms, when I say platform, I mean platform operators such as Airbnb, VRBO, Priceline. We're not complying, so Destination Cape Breton started consulting with other municipalities and were advised that a specific bylaw amendment was required to ensure that platforms complied. And following that advice, it's been recommended that the implementation of the following marketing bylaw amendments are on the screen, were be put into the bylaw to ensure that they're compliant. So there's a number of amendments And what it really is defining a platform operator, which means a person who facilitates or brokers reservations for short-term rentals or roof accommodations via the internet and receive payment, compensation, or any other financial benefit in connection with a person making and completing a reservation such as short-term rental. So a number of points, platform operator has been put into the bylaw to ensure that the platform operators are now included and must comply with remitting their payments directly to the municipality or through another collection platform, which then remits to the municipality. Shall I read through all of those? No.
No.
Okay. So these are all the amendments. There's about 18 amendments to it. And it's essentially just inserting operator or platform operator into the bylaw.
Fantastic. Thank you. So now I will open up the floor for any questions from council at this time. Okay, no questions at this time. We'll move to gallery presentations. I'll make the first call for opposing presentations. Make the call for second. And third for opposing presentations. Hearing none, I would ask for any presentations in favor. For a second time, any presentations in favor? And for a third time, any presentations in favor? Hearing none, I would ask our CAO if there were any submissions of written.
There were no written submissions received.
Okay, thank you so much. We're now going to move on to our next staff presentation with regard to second reading for amendments to the solid waste bylaw. Just to note, first reading was given at the May 5th, 2026 public meeting of council. I'll hand things over for the presentation to our CAO, Terry Dora.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this amendment is fairly simple, as you know. We're very fortunate to have legislation in place with respect to extended producer responsibility. That legislation was responsible for the appointment of a company called Circular Materials. They have established a recycling program within the municipalities of the province of Nova Scotia and throughout Canada. The recycling program is now free to all of the residents certainly in our municipality. As a result of that, there's been some changes with Circular Materials now taking over that responsibility as part of the extended producer responsibility. There's been some changes to the program, and this bylaw reflects those changes, and they're very consistent. So I'll just go through a couple of those, and you have reviewed this in our bylaw committee meeting. So designated recycling program means the recycling program established under the provincial regulations and administered by the contract program provider as amended from time to time. So for the most part, again, we see or other items identified in the public education documents distributed by the town or under the designated recycling program from time to time. So really, we've inserted the change in the bylaw throughout the bylaw to reflect designated recycling program, which in our case right now is under the administration of Circular Materials Canada. So that continues throughout the document. Again, you have reviewed this, and actually in two separate occasions, but most lately through a bylaw.
Thank you so much, Terry. I'd now like to open up the floor for any council questions.
Your Worship, I have a question.
Sure.
I received 3 calls with respect to our bylaw amendments.
Mhm.
None of them had anything to do with construction trades or the marketing levy. But the three were with respect to waste management, specifically section 1.14, which references leaf and yard waste, which can be found on page 3. That's grass clippings, leaves, brush, twigs, and so on. And picking up from the service provider. They had waste that went beyond the wheeled cart. It has designed for the hydraulic lift. It was in large brown paper bags. They asked me to bring this up for proper disposal. They don't want to illegally dump. And they're looking for further access to section 7.12, the organic leaf and yard waste disposal yard.
Sure. Maybe through you, Madam Chair.
Yes, absolutely.
When we instituted the compost program, we chose the large cart, because we knew, because of residents, using that for yard waste, as well as compost from kitchen, that type of thing. There was a lot of pressure to use on the smaller cart, but we chose the larger cart for that purpose. The leaf and yard, at that time, we reduced the hours of operation of the leaf and yard waste because there was another mechanism for that. Just like there's a limit on the number of garbage bags you can use, a limit on the number of recycling bags you can use, there's a limit on the amount of compost that we can handle as well. For GFL, their trucks fill up with compost and they go back to their facility and they dump. If there's a large amount of extra compost that's left in the curb, it becomes very difficult for them to be able to take all that in one load. And so that's been a consistent message from the town to residents since the program started. The leaf and yard waste site is actually quite unique to the town of Port Hawkesbury. We are very happy to have it. It's well used. And that Saturday morning, every second Saturday morning is something that's, especially this time, spring and fall especially, is well used. It is difficult to get labor to do that part-time work, to have that open an extra week. And I will say that we are running out of space on that site right now for a lot more debris to be organics to be placed in that area. That's a little bit of the background. I do understand people who take great care in maintaining their property, raking leaves and picking up their grass clippings to make their properties look very, very good. And would like to support that in any way that we can. At this time, that's not something that we've planned on. We can certainly look at some other opportunities for opening it, maybe during the week, for periods of time. And be happy to get back to council through email on that if we wish.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, Your Worship, would appreciate the email response. I'll forward that to the ratepayer, taxpayer resident
Yes.
who do keep the yards in good shape, who don't illegally dump and are just looking for access to the site to put their compost so they can comply with the bylaw. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions at this time? Oh, Jason, do you have something?
If it's appropriate.
Absolutely.
I'd just like to point out to plainly as well, typically it's been practiced the last number of years for increased compost collections during the summer months. So July and August, rather than bi-weekly compost collections, we move to a weekly schedule, which provides a lot more access and usability for residents. So that's a really important point, and
Absolutely.
that's going to be honest within a couple of weeks.
Your Worship, clear to staff.
Yes,
Point well taken. That's excellent.
no, it's fantastic. Okay, any other questions at this time? Okay, hearing no other further questions, we'll move on to gallery presentations. The first call for opposing presentations. The second call for opposing presentations. And the third call for opposing presentations. Hearing none, I would call for presentations in favor. The second time, presentations in favor. And a final and third time, presentations in favor. I would ask our CEO if we've received any written submissions.
There have been no written submissions received.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Since we have concluded all of our items, we will adjourn. Thank you, everyone.